Are we on?
Go Hello Mermaid.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go mermaid.
You're gonna go mermaid?
Yeah. Hey, I am the High Priestess 710.
And I am Michael Gramling. Oh, I'm the Bard Creative. That's what I am. Yes. And we are joined here
on Cleric Talks.
Yes, from our special guest. It's our boss. It's the other owner. Whatever you want to call it. What's your hashtag the Cleric?
Founder.
Hashtag founder.
Flounder, more like it.
So today we've got a couple of things that we're going to discuss. Like we start every stream, we have a couple of updates and this and that. First up is our Kickstarter stuff that we've been supporting.
Yeah, hey, I want to say thank you to everybody that helped support Collateral Damage because we actually met our goal.
Yeah.
So, huzzah!
It was the 11th hour, and the next thing you know, it's complete. It's off to the races.
Yes, yes.
It's just in plans.
700 over what we needed.
Yeah.
In honor of Salcedo. Ba, 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 ba.
Our mans.
Yeah.
Other than that, all the other Kickstarters that we've kind of been supporting are every Kickstarter we've supported is fully funded. The only one that has some days left is C4 Labs, the Explorers Pack.
That they just showed right before we had stream, and if you didn't get to see it, please go ahead and take a look on their Kickstarter. It is a nice video that was created by yours truly here, Mikey.
Oh, and Bane.
And Bane, you know, Bane.
I'm kind of pumped on that thing, dude. I was watching the video, and like my number one criticism of the little dice tray that I have is that like I have to line the dice up on the outside, and so like my fat fingers are still knocking them shits everywhere. So like I love how it's got the part for your little dice to sit and the actual part to roll them in.
Yes,
like, I like that thing.
It's a neat little.
That's different than the one I originally saw for sure.
A little, yeah.
You know, in fairness to Rachel though, she did say like this is like the super prototype.
Yeah.
So. That one's dope.
Yeah,
that one's super
It's got
dope.
Felt line into it.
Yeah, that's dope. I want one of those things for sure.
It's pretty rad.
I want one. I want a custom one. I want one with a big spider on it.
That has 6 days left. They're already fully funded. However, if you want to get it day of the moment it premieres and releases, check them out on the Kickstarter. Pledge your thing, get your Explorers Pack, and enjoy. It's a nice little.
I think there's some goals too that if they go past that they'll do some other things with the. If I remember Rachel telling us when she was here last time.
They're working on
I think
like
it's
custom
customizing,
covers.
right?
Yeah, it's custom covers, different designs for the inside layout, so you can kind of shift things around to better suit your own RPG needs.
or aesthetic needs. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want to look at when you're just staring, thinking about what you're gonna do next?
Oh, do you guys know they're backed?
What?
Yeah,
that's what you said.
Yeah, they're 100%.
They got it,
that's
but
rad.
they still have some days left on it.
Yeah, about 6.
So, we want to make sure that you guys help get more of those goals in there so that maybe you can get one of those customized ones.
Yes.
Again, if you're just going to stare off into nothing, make it something that you're just like, man, that's so cool that I bought that. This is inner monologue, you know?
So cool.
You're like, I'm so glad I paid that money for that thing. That's the best thing I ever did. Yes, I'd like to fireball, please.
Other than that, we don't have any conventions coming up till January of next year. Currently.
Okay, wait, stop. Tell us.
I'll announce.
What do you mean I'll announce? Because I haven't heard anything.
That we might.
He's heard it all. He's the one with the emails.
We might try to go up and check out Dice Fest.
Green Dog 1976 just gave us a follow.
Hey, Green Dog, thank you. Welcome.
And because a lot of people have been sending me messages about that one, and I saw those guys, I think it's Flying Frog or Frogman, but I'm pretty sure it's Flying Frog. Flying Frog Productions. I saw those guys at PAX. They were just hustling, trying to push their games, and this is like their little convention that they're doing. I don't know if you could call it like a mini con. I don't think it's really a mini con, but it's up in Snohomish. So
I know we're gonna try to go to Nerd Fair. I think that's a one-day.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's next year.
Yeah,
that's happening for sure. I finalized that last night.
Okay,
nice. That's the latest that I heard.
Add that to the first
so
quarter.
Dice
first
Con.
Quarter.
No, Dice Fest.
Oh, Dice Fest.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Snohomish.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be fun. That'll be fun to have you up there in Snohomish.
I'll do the thing.
Yes. Oh, Ben, will you be bringing the Irish Rose with you?
Probably.
Yay! We'll make it a party.
So so we may be doing things for the rest.
Just that. I mean, that's minor. One weekend, nothing major. We're really gearing up for OrcaCon. Like I've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes to really make OrcaCon like one of the premier RPG events of the year.
That's going to be one of our main debuts.
I love OrcaCon.
That's the beginning of the year kickoff for us.
Yes.
Okay, so secret. I guess we'll talk more about that later during the interviewing. But like OrcaCon's like really special to us. Like next to like Renaissance Fair, for how special Renaissance Fair, like OrcaCon, I think for you and I is like number one, like our secret little like special con.
It's my favorite con.
It was our first one. It popped our con cherry.
With all due respect to all the conventions that we organize for, like OrcaCon's my favorite.
Well,
I like the hotel. I like the people that run it. The vibe is super cool. Like everyone's really mellow. You can get some serious D&D action there. Like you could take like a legit D&D vacation to OrcaCon.
Yeah.
I'm just playing D&D. I'm going to eat good in the hotel.
We're going to eat well.
I mean, well, honestly, because, like, okay, OrcaCon, like, took our, like, RPG virginity. It was, like...
Your RPG.
Well...
That was your first convention.
Yeah, I guess you had a lot of terrible stories to tell me about the ones that you went to as a kid.
They were terrible, but
you told me I was lucky, so I guess OrcaCon like caressed me and made me feel like a lady. You know what I mean? Like they took good care of me there, and they and you know, that's where we met DT for the first time. Yep. That's where we met Sakura, Ben, who else? Everybody.
Tabitha.
Was Tabitha there?
Lowe
and Sebastian, for sure,
the Richmonds.
Yeah.
John and Andrea Erickson.
That was the epic with the Nerf gun.
Tim Kelly.
I wasn't there for that one.
No, the other Ben C.
No, yeah, Ben C. Ben, not the one with
not
the kidney.
Kenobi?
Yeah.
No.
Little Ben.
Yeah.
Little Ben.
LBC.
You guys are like the same height too, so like that's what makes it like suck. Like
he's about an inch and a half or so taller than anyways, but it doesn't matter.
I feel like our Ben is legitimately like way taller than little Ben.
He is.
Like little Ben's like maybe 6'1".
He's like he's taller than I am. He's like 6'2", a little bit bigger than that.
Kenobi's like 7'8".
Yeah,
you know,
he's huge, dude.
We're sitting on the bus. He's like, I feel bad for these people like reaching so high for the thing. As he's like sitting down and grabbing the bar.
There's one guy who's like full stretch, reaching up from the ground, holding onto the bars, and I was like, man, that sucks. And I reached up
from sitting at an angle. It was ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Good times though. It's good times. But other than that, moving forward, we are here today to talk about a thing that's happening in a week. It is the season 9 changes.
Lee, that's true too. That is where we first met you.
What a boot!
Look at he wrote. I thought orcas were in danger. Yeah, I know, right? Is it true? I can't cause a fireball within 100 feet within a pond. That's our Lee. Yes, that's right. And Lee too. That's where we met Lee.
I didn't go with you guys to the first orca.
No, we didn't know you yet.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, okay.
We hadn't even decided to do this yet.
No,
it was. It's literally like a year after
we were
you guys went to that.
discussing it. Remember, because that's what led us because of watching the Stream of Annihilation.
Yeah.
And
that's how you're like, I want to play D&D. I'm like, okay, well, let's find a convention.
And that's when Esperanza was a cleric before she was a bard.
You nerds.
I mean, it was crazy. She messed up. She sat on I remember she sat on a throne like to be like a coy kitty cat, you know, like all like, whatever, you're boring me. Sits on a chair, and they give me a card that is probably the worst thing anyone could have ever handed me. Like, as a person that was first playing the game with complete anxiety of even knowing how to do this, the card said, whatever you say, the rest of the group has to follow you without any question. Oh, no. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And Sebastian was like, oh, Esperanza, what do you think they should do? And I'm like, oh, and this is before he knew me, so I was like, oh, no.
You went straight from 0 to hero.
Oh my god, it was so it was fun. It was
I think we
was
should
really
do
fun.
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh god. One of the guys at the table was like, I remember he got so mad, and I'm like, you gotta do it, dude. I don't know, I'm sorry.
I was sat on the throne too.
You still have your spear.
Yeah, I still have the spear that I got during that game that I played with her. That gleaming spear. It's supposed to be that whenever she stabs somebody, the blood just drips right off and it sparkles clean.
It's never dirty.
It's never dirty. And it's a +1. Well, now it's a +2, right?
No, it's a +1 from Lake Luau. It might be +2. I don't remember. I just remember that I just remember that it was always clean and that you got it there. Because I remember you were like rolling for it. Because I was back like way back in the day when you were still rolling for gear at the table.
Yeah. So. It got heavy at that table. It got heated at that table.
It did. Because there was 3 druids at that table. So they were all rolling on the same shit.
And I was just like, ooh, I'm glad I'm not in the middle of that one.
So.
Oof. Anyways, I think the only thing I was getting mad about is I wanted a pearl. It was like a spell pearl or something like that. What's that?
Pearl power.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I was like, we rolled the same. Remember the first roll?
That was when I realized that your loot ninja steez from Warcraft was going to translate to D&D.
Yeah.
You wanted all the loot. I want it all. Yeah, I'll roll for that.
Yeah,
I'll roll for that.
Oh, you're fired.
Yeah, I'll roll for that.
She's like, need. I'm just going to hit need.
Yeah, I'm just going to hit need. Yeah, I'll roll for that.
Need.
Yeah, I'll roll for that. Dude, seriously, like, when we used to play Warcraft together, there's been, like, major, like, near like night-ending arguments over like gear and shit.
So
if you fucking need on that one more time, dude, I'm like, I pushed it on accident.
I would get
so that became a war. So then we're needing on like grays, bro, just to win,
I hate
just to
playing
compete.
with him.
You're all fired.
I hate playing with him. And then if it like he would get something I really need, he'd like laugh and be like, all right, I'll give it to you. Hold on, and then we'd have to trade it. And I'm like, I hate you. I'm still just cussing him out the whole time and in microphone. I hate you so much. You have no idea how much I hate you right now.
All right, you guys. Let's get back to our show. Season 9 changes.
Oh fuck!
Super excited for season 9.
So we're going to approach this as though everyone already knows everything about DDAL, and so we're just going to pretend that most of the people watching know about DDAL and the intricacies.
Are we going to assume that they know about the car crash that happened in season 8?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna say is let's give a quick intro of what season 9 is, so that people that don't know out there can at least understand what it is that we're going into.
To be honest, I think we should have an entire segment about like DDAL and seasons and things like that. I don't know if we want to do that now or later.
Okay, I guess we could do that later. We'll talk about that next week then.
Big changes, big things, big stuff on the news today. We have printouts.
We do. Look at there's papers here stapled. Can you believe this?
Can you look how they act when I come in? You know, they're like, oh shit, we gotta.
Oh my god, Ben's just prepared because we talked about it. Assumptions, right. We all know what happens when we assume.
So
we make an ass out of you and me.
Out of all of the big changes coming from season 8, moving into season 9, one of the big things is they're getting rid of advancement checkpoints and treasure checkpoints. Now, this is a big thing that people are really excited about, and also not very excited about at the same time. So D&D season 9 or DDAL season 9 has implemented kind of a magic item limit based on your level or what tier your character is in. So let's approach that first. Well, I guess I'll give them like the legit like numbers, and then we can kind of discuss it for a moment. So if you're in tier 1, your magic item limit is 1. This magic item is basically anything you could imagine. Your +1 weapon, a ring of some sort, etc., etc.
Anything. Not a consumable.
Oh yeah, that's right. Consumables don't count towards it. So that's spell scrolls, potions, anything, things with charges. That's consumable.
No.
It depends on the item. Like a necklace of fireballs counts as a magical item.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gem brilliance, those sort of things are magic items that have what are considered magic item reducers.
Gotcha. So tier 1 magic item. Tier 2, 3 magic items. Tier 3, I'm adding extra numbers to my thing. At tier 3, you get 6, and at tier 4, you get 10. Now, with this magic item limit, how does this make you feel? We'll start with Josh.
I mean, I get it. I still am of the thought process that maybe adding an item to tier 1 and an item to tier 2 would have solved a lot of the problems. I think that's acceptable for a tier 3 and 4. Since we're talking about it, I got to give a shout to my boy Danny Morales, who is like #1 crybaby about magical items. And he did make a good point, though, that like people who have been wailing away for this entire last season to get this like particular item set for a higher tier character, it's kind of like they're taking some of that stuff away now. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's a good compromise to all of the system and all that kind of stuff. But people are never going to like to hear that they have limits of any kind. However, in 2nd edition, I played a paladin. So, like, the way they balanced paladins in 2nd edition was you could only have 10 magical items. And everything else extra you had to give to the church. So, for me, like...
you were born with that.
So, for me, like, as far as my own personal play, like, I've never had these characters with, like, these voluminous amounts of magical items. Like, I've said it before, my DM was hardcore... like player, he was kicking your ass and you had minimal magical items, and like it was a red letter day when like somebody had like a +1 longsword. So it doesn't really affect me. The only thing that bums me out is that when we talk about all these other cool magical items and perks and shit you get, that you have to like really choose between them. Mm-hmm. I wish you could just kind of have them all. Maybe that's just OP, but that seems like fun to me. Like, oh, you get this magical item and you get this magical item, and
because you really do like off rip. They hand you like, here's a selection of like 3 magic items, and that's it.
Lee says that he agreed with the T1-2 and the T2-4 magic items.
Yeah, I mean, within the forums, like a lot of discussion amongst players is to just bump them all up by one. So tier 1, instead of having one magic item, you get 2, which is kind of a real common.
We just went savage.
What is Lee?
Oh, yeah.
Is Lee blowing it up right now?
Yeah, no. Lee says you must have had David Thompson as your DM growing up.
So DT. But I mean, yeah, a lot of players kind of feel that the limit is just too far, and just bumping it up by one magic item, even amongst all of the tiers, is something that a lot of players would like. But so what about you, Cindy? How do you feel about the whole magic item limit? And...
Honestly, dude, I mean,
How does the Ninja feel?
Ninja.
I don't really pack on stuff on my characters. I don't really do. I mean, when people have gotten a hold of my characters, feel like, oh, you're at this level and you have all this stuff. You should be doing this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like, I didn't put on my Esperanza's like gleaming leather armor or glamour leather armor till like later on anyways, till I was a higher. So by the time I got to the tier that I was at, everything kind of fit with what they're telling me anyways at this point.
That's
so for
fair.
me, I play because for me it's more of an escape of getting to play the game. Like I was telling Josh earlier that for me, I like to play because I want to like live a movie in my head and on the table. Like it allows me to kind of like create a story, and I like to do that. And and if I wanted to play a video game, I would go play a video game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
And so like in a video game, it's different. In a video game, I want to collect everything. You know what I mean? If I'm playing an epic game, I want to collect everything in the epic game because the epic game, I know that means something to come back at the end and be like, we did all this. What do we get at the end of the game? You know what I mean? That's the only time I give a shit about.
That's a dope feeling when, like, at the end of I'll never forget at the end of Lake Luau when DT just shows up like the little. Remember the little loot goblin.
Yes! Oh my god, yes!
From Golden Axe, and he'd like run on the screen and you'd just kick him in his head and he'd cough up fucking potions.
Yes! And we were just playing, what was it, Diablo? No, what were we playing the other day?
Diablo's
That's
that's
because the little dude used to run on the screen, like, he'd be running on the screen like, and you'd walk over and you'd seriously just front kick him in his head. And the potions would come out, and that's how you repowered your magic in Golden Axe.
Okay.
And so DT would just came over to the table and was just like, here you go. Here's this one. Oh, you got the item? Oh, here's this. Oh, and he's just certs everywhere, dude. At the end, it just rains. Raining certs, dude.
So that, for me, that's the only reason why I need to collect things. But other than that, I'm really picky. Like if I have like gold and things like that, I hoard that kind of stuff. I'm more of that sort of a collector in these RPG games. I like to hoard my gold so that, because I don't know, maybe there's going to be a cool mount. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be something really cool and I'm going to be so mad.
I want to buy a horse.
Well, what if Esperanza wants to ride a horse? You know what I mean? Like, and I want her to have the very best because she is the diva that deserves the very best. And so that's kind of the only thing that really truly matters to me. Other than that, I don't really, because I was thinking about that as we were discussing off camera before we started. Because I was kind of reading some of the things that were going on before today, and
things are happening around us.
I know. I'm getting scared, and so I'm getting distracted.
Stop getting distracted.
Can't help it. Who's Jordan Love? Hi.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
That's Fire from Twitch.
Oh, hi, Fire.
The guy from last week.
Yes, you're checking in here on Facebook. Thank you. Sorry,
You shared the Alfredo. I'm super jealous.
Oh yeah, you got a picture of it and stuff.
So. For me, like a lot of these changes, I don't play and allow.
You're a casual player.
I play.
You play D&D for the sake of playing D&D rather than trying to like approach it mathematically or
collecting or you know what I mean. Like I don't play for that reason. I play because I want to level up because I want to get stronger, and I play because I want to live a different life for that next 2 hours, 4 hours. You know what I mean? Like that's why I play.
No, I resonate with that.
Yes, if you are viewing on Twitch or would like to click in on Twitch, FYI, this month is Subtember. Subs are only $2.49. And you can even gift subs, which that's awesome.
Yes.
And you know what? I think if we get anybody that comes in and gives some subs, I think we can send out some gifts to them. We have some stuff. We're getting things. And I can definitely send out some stuff. How about I'm going to do that. I'm going to throw that on the table. If anybody throws out 2 or more gifts, we will send you a gift.
It would probably have to be restricted to the U.S. and Canada, excluding Quebec. There's some weird laws.
Okay, we cannot send it. You have to only if you're in U.S. and Canada.
Excluding Quebec.
You can't be in Quebec.
Did you say that?
You can't be in Quebec.
Okay.
Quebec. Quidditch.
We will send you a set of dice, a dice tray. And
what else? Yeah, all of it. All of it. We'll send you chairs. We'll send you the ceiling.
Chairs.
See these lights? You can't see them because they're off camera. We'll send you lights. We'll send you tape because we have tape. We have tape. We'll send you
dice trays or.
We'll send you a something.
It'll be a mystery. And we'll contact
and Cindy
you.
will sign it.
I will.
Yeah, with her forehead.
Pow.
Pow.
So.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, we'll make it special.
Yeah.
I can make it special. I'm really good at that.
Back to magic items.
Yes.
So I resonate with you about like, because I'm also a casual player. Like I don't really play the game for power or crazy nonsense. So the magic item limit honestly doesn't affect me personally.
Lord of Hyboria, welcome. Lord of Hyboria,
welcome back.
Yes.
That's DC.
That's yeah.
Sorry.
Get out of here, dude. I
got excited.
So the magic item limit honestly it doesn't affect me as in terms of playing the game. However, with some of the people we play with, like they have very like.
Is there something we can both agree on before you continue on this? Because I know that this is about to get emotional. What are we about to agree on? Can we both agree that the whole seasonality of your character, I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that.
Yes.
That's the only sad, because I'm going to create a new character. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing this season enough that I will be creating another character. Yeah. But Esperanza got to go into hell, and she does so well that I want her. She loves it.
Having her restricted to like new content, old content, and weird bylaws.
I'm okay with that. Like, none of that stuff really bothers me. Yeah. I just want her to play there. I want to be able to role play her there. And I think she loves it.
Midnight Cleric for the follow.
Oh, who?
Midnight Cleric.
Midnight Cleric. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
The support. We really appreciate it. Pow, 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 pow.
Pow, pow, pow.
Yeah, no, so even though they've removed seasonality for now, I'm glad that they made that choice.
That's the only part I would have been very perturbed with. I would have to say,
perturbed,
because it's the proper term. I wouldn't be like, I'm angry, and I wouldn't be like, oh my god, like I would just be perturbed. I'd be slightly annoyed and slightly angered by it, you know what I mean? But not like it's gonna make a big deal. Of course I'd keep playing, it wouldn't end it. But I would be perturbed.
Sorry, everybody gets excited when they see my car out there. They knew I was here, so they want to come by and talk. Oh, dude, I saw your car was here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is why you're not. You're always here. You're just outside handling business with all sorts of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we are discussing like our opinions on the changes and how we feel. But Mikey, what were you gonna continue what you were saying?
Oh, the magic item limit. I embrace it. I'm totally cool with it. I think it's fine. The trade off with the magic item limit is in Season 8, when you didn't obtain magic items from the modules. You got unlocks, and you got the treasure checkpoints, all that weird stuff. I'm glad that that's gone. I really like the organic feeling of like,
so hard to
here's the magic item, it's yours. Put it in your pocket.
So hard to explain to people. Like, you're like, oh, because we do all this stuff with new players.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
So
you
you
guys
don't-
had fun playing your first adventure? That's awesome. Okay, let's talk about treasure checkpoints.
Yeah, so-
okay, let's talk about
It was a
advancement
huge
checkpoints.
turnoff. It was a big turnoff for a lot of new players.
It-
Do you want to know
was.
why? Because all the character sheets, even the pre-gens that Wizards gives you, still has in the top right experience points.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It doesn't matter
So it's
where
like,
you
don't
get
get
your
experience points, and they're like, what?
Yeah, those don't count. That doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Go to the sheet. Go to the sheet. And
After
You
you
have
played
it-
with them, you played with them for 4 hours, and then they're like, so
and
how many experience points do we get?
Yeah.
About that.
And Boldman Games, when I played over there at Gen Con, they tried really hard even to create this cool little sheet that had like this little checklist, like if you played at their Moonshade thing that they had, where you would like, there's like a little box and you could check which one you played, and it kept charts. Like they did a really good
The
job of
Moonshade list they do.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really, really nice what they put together. And so like, but even then that was still a turnoff at the very end of the game when you're like, what? And some of the DMs didn't even understand like what they were really explaining when if it isn't something that they're familiar with. So like, let's simplify that. And I do appreciate
Yes.
that's what they did, was simplify it with milestones, which we should
We'll
talk.
approach. in a
Yeah,
second.
let's.
I'm gonna go down the list because the next topic
Midnight
is.
Cleric just gave us a tier 1 sub.
Hey, thank you.
Gifted it to Lord Hyperion.
Oh.
Whoa. Nice.
Yes, I made
Say the
a
name.
call. I said if someone could do 2 or more giftings, we will contact them after stream and we will send them a gift.
Cindy was like, "We'll send you chairs. We'll send you
No, that
ceiling
was
fans.
he
We'll
was
send you
saying
light
tape.
bulbs."
He put tape on the list.
I did not. I didn't. You can
I
go
said
back to the
dice
stream.
and dice
okay?
trays and stuff like that, and this guy is
I
throwing
was
out
saying
chairs.
dice trays. Maybe a D20. Some pocket lint, but no. Okay. She's over here talking about we've got loose carpets. Trash bags.
You see how he throws me under the bus all the time?
You know what? I'll
With
line
his
up.
lies.
I'll line up a special dinner with KRL.
Okay. There we go.
You don't want.
Yeah,
Now
you
it's
do.
gonna make him stop gifting.
I just, KRL, I just talked to him. He looks like he's doing really good.
Yeah.
Oh, someone wants interpretive dance still.
There we go. If you get 2 gifts, I'll send you a video of
That
my
should be like
interpretive
10 gifts, and then
10?
we'll get
No.
loincloth.
Back to the show. So yeah.
And Midnight Cleric just
Oh god.
Yay!
That's 2. Save the name.
Interpretive dance.
So yeah, the magic item limits, the trade-off for actually getting the physical items from a module. I love that. No more treasure checkpoints, none of that weird stuff. That also bleeds into the monetary reward system. Now, when you just kind of look at it, it kind of isn't very easy to read. However, once you kind of have someone explain it to you, it makes perfect sense. So the concept in the previous season was you gained gold when you leveled up.
Right.
Now, to make it more organic feeling, both with now you get the magic item when you complete the module, you also get to pick up gold in the module and keep it, whereas previously you didn't. So tier 1, you get to earn up to 80 gold per level. So at level 1, you can get 80 gold, level 2, 80 gold, blah, blah, blah. And this really kind of gives the DM the capability to reward exploration, or when you loot the bodies, instead of there being nothing of value, the DM is now allowed to reward you gold pieces and things like that.
So I will say that I was really sad about gold being taken out the last time.
Yeah.
There was no gold. Now I'm happy, and I like the way they set up the structure for the gold.
Yes.
I do enjoy that, and that will make me want to put in the hours just for the gold.
Because you
So I
get to
can be
really
like,
reward players
I'm
and these
rich,
things.
bitch. You know what I mean?
I've never even kept track of my gold in season 8, dude.
Me neither.
I had the
'Cause there
gold
was
that I had on
no-
my characters going into it, and I didn't understand. And like a couple of times when like I needed to buy something, I'd be like, I don't have any gold. And Danny was like, let me see that shit.
He's like, you're not fun.
Yeah, that's how Danny is to everybody's character sheet.
It's impossible. It's impossible for you not to have any gold. By my estimations, you should have like right around like 415.
He says, by my estimations, with insurance, you should have 1.2 million gold pieces.
Okay. So does that mean I have enough? Do I have enough? He's like, yes, you have enough. We only needed 25 gold pieces each.
I hope Danny watches this later so he can
Don't worry, I'll make it.
If you put in your investments correctly, I mean, 16.3 trillion gold. I don't understand. What
Dude, that's the only time I ever had gold on my characters.
When Danny's there to remind you. Did you check your pockets?
Dude,
seriously. Did you check all of your pockets? Well, no.
That is, Danny. You're like you feel like a lost child. You go
never
up to
bought that? Why not?
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand how you don't have that and you have no gold. Your character's level 9. You should have like 1,000-some gold pieces.
You're looking at it as like I only have 10 gold pieces.
Yeah. No, bro, that's your starting goal.
No,
like, no, bro,
a month ago when you were there that weekend, did you play this game? Yeah. Well, I know you did because I saw you there and I signed you up for that game. So this is what we're going to do. So you are missing this here and you're missing this here. So you need to make sure that you add this item. Look at Cindy. Okay, look. And I'm like, damn it, Danny, that's why I brought this to you.
Josh, how do you feel about like rewarding gold and like then keeping it and like how do you like that system?
I like this better because I mean you think you're thinking it's complicated or like you're saying
Danny, he's listening.
Or you think it's like a little more complicated, but I mean for me, like I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. And then the one thing I want to discuss is like the DM aspect of it, the hourly reward.
Yeah,
that like I haven't seen any of the season 9 content yet. I don't know if it was adjusted. I'm assuming no, that this probably was finished recently, so it's probably not been adjusted for the season 9 content yet. But I like it that, you know, as a DM, I'm sure all the stuff's going to still be written with the time blocks where it's telling you like how much time this takes, and you can flavor it up yourself. You know, you can put rubies back in and citrines and all this kind of shit because you know that you got to come up with this hourly GP award, and it's going to give the incentive back to search the bodies, which is one of the things I thought was just sucked right out of season 8 was searching bodies, getting gold from the quest giver, like, oh hey, Bjorn clanging shield, what do we get for freeing the village of kobolds? Well, you get a couple of treasure points. You know, like what kind of shit is that?
You get an arbitrary number.
It doesn't
give you 2 treasure points. Can we get 3?
Yeah. You know, and this way, you know, you start them. Let's say in the first hour you're gonna do all 200 gold pieces of the tier 2 or the tier 3, you know. So instead,
you just have to sit the
Midnight Cleric says Pepperidge Farm remembers searching bodies for loot.
Pepperidge Farm. That's one of my favorites. I love Pepperidge Farm remembers.
And so
Pepperidge.
It, you know, it allows you to put stuff back in people's pockets and gives, because like
I get anxiety.
You still search.
I do still search, and all the DMs kind of look at me like it's like you don't have like everyone's trying to give me like hints,
the first like they humor you the first time. They're like, okay, you search the body.
Nothing's there.
You find some mundane items. And then you'll do it like 4 or 5 more times, and you can see the frustration mounting, where they're like, "Dude, you're not gonna find anything."
Which sucks because it gives me anxiety to not search it.
They're like the body was disintegrated amidst the battle.
It's that old habit of like, if I didn't search it, bet me it's the one body that I didn't look that had the key in like sitting in its pocket. You know what I mean? And like at the end of the game, you should have just checked that body because then that's where the key was. And I get anxiety.
You're crazy about.
I am.
Like we played Diablo with her, and I have gone over with her a million times about how the shit is randomly generated, and it doesn't matter. Every corner of every dungeon has to be explored, dude. It has to be until there's nowhere else to go.
Amy just started playing it 2 days ago. I have the same problem.
I'm like, no, we're on the
hates
right
playing
path.
Lego
We're just
with me.
pathing through this.
Because I have to collect all the Lego. Zeke will be like, Mom, you don't need all those Lego pieces. And I'm like, yes, we do. We got to collect all the gold pieces.
Every stud. I'm going to break everything. Oh, dude, you and the barrels. If there's a game with barrels.
If there's barrels even on the
Anyways.
D&D RPG tabletop, I'm going to hit it, and we're going to see if there's anything in it. It opens, and there's nothing but
Were you harassed by Donkey Kong as a child?
What?
Were you harassed by Donkey Kong as a child?
I was harassed by everything
on
as
a
a
tangent
child.
about barrels. So I was playing the Essentials kit, and there's a mimic in Nomengard, and it's a barrel.
Yes.
And I was playing with my friend, his dad, and Katie. And my friend's dad, his name was John, like walks. He's like, I want to search the barrels because they're like caskets of wine. Nat 1. It's like, okay, well you touch a barrel and your hand gets stuck to it and it bites you. Critical damage. You're down. And everyone was like, oh no! And it just went ape. Like, so you're like, I'm gonna touch all of the barrels. I'm like,
How do you describe that? How do you describe that, or you just tell them that they're down?
Oh no,
because that to me is like arm chopped off, blood spraying, you go into shock. And fall.
No, I
Kill
should.
Bill style.
Dude.
So what happens is they leave the room, they leave the body, and they grab an NPC, and I'm like, I'm gonna eat your friend, dude. They come back, all the barrels are the same. And then one of the NPCs is like, I don't understand. Gets close to the barrel, and the barrel just literally, because in the description, like it's got like iron bands around it, and like the iron bands pop off, right? And in the middle of it splits into like splintered mouth and just chomps the side of this little gnome in half. I mean, blood gets sprayed. Their friend is literally like on his deathbed. I'm like, dude, make your final death save, and he's like, I'm out, dude. And it got crazy. But
Mikey,
yeah,
do the
IRL
noise. Midnight
Joe.
Cleric says,
IRL Joe gifted a tier 1 sub.
Precious pottery. You get rupees.
Thank you,
Sock.
Ira.
thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Wait.
He gifted.
Oh, see, Lee knows about crushing bases and getting rupees. That's where it comes from.
That's where it all.
That's the OG
that-
barrels. Just crushing
know.
bases and getting rupees.
I know.
I just remember in Hyrule, there's that one section where the dude's room, it's full of vases. You just sit there and just wah, wah,
Can you
wah.
imagine
Yeah.
That bartender person.
And then you just hold it, and you're like, yeah, and it goes in the circle.
Anyways, back.
You and Mikey
Back
make
to our
the best
season.
Zelda nails. All
I
right,
was doing
so
it on your back the other day.
let's
Continue. The next section I want to talk about is experience points. So they're getting rid of advancement checkpoints, and instead they've changed the system into the milestone system. So this means it's primarily up to the DM. He just gets to kind of grant you levels. For most of the modules that are going to be built at the end of the module, effectively you gain a level. How Cindy?
Yeah.
How does this make you feel? Like, do you like this system? What are your thoughts on the milestones?
I like the milestone. I mean, it's going to be hard to get used to because I'm so used to having to like really work a lot to get it going. But I'm interested to see what they consider like their milestones, you know? How is each module, or are there parts of the module that are considered milestone? Like, how are they going to set up the milestone process?
I feel like at least in tier 1, most of the adventures were all 4-hour adventures. Mm-hmm. And with the advancement checkpoint system, after you play every hour you got the checkpoint. So you needed 4 checkpoints to level. So it seemed like, at least for tier 1, I would expect that at the end of every module, like, you gained a level. I'm not sure how that's going to translate in future modules. Maybe it'll just be
how will that
more
translate
difficult.
in the open? How does it translate in, you know what I mean? Like,
it'll be interesting to see kind of how they
each
integrate
module
that.
grants a milestone or every 4 to 8 hours.
So within that, like the time frame is all put into, like, if you're playing a hardcover book, it's kind of, honestly, it's loose. But if you're playing every 4 hours you get a level, or 8 hours at tiers 2 to 4, whenever the DM tells you get a level. One thing in here that's interesting is that the rules supersede the DM at a certain point. So if you're playing a hardcover, 4 hours pass by and the DM thinks like, no, you didn't get a milestone. Like you haven't progressed. In the character advancement thing, it supersedes the DM and goes, no, you played 4 hours, you get the level.
Lord of Hiberia says DM dictatorship.
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah.
If Mikey was in DT's home game, he'd never let Mikey level up.
Are you kidding me? I'd be the highest level character. He'd be like, everyone, he says, everyone, no milestones.
Tomb
Mikey,
of Annihilation, just in the tomb going through it, not getting any levels.
he'd be like, all right, you're level
You
1.
suck
and
today,
you're
no leveling.
Are you kidding me? I'm DT's favorite player.
Well,
It's Ultimates. I'm everyone's favorite player.
so every 4 to 8 hours is a milestone, is what they're saying, huh?
Yeah. And
So
that's
that's tough.
that supersedes the DM. I mean, the DM does, if you played an hour and he feels like, you know what, you've done so much, the DM's allowed to reward milestones.
Now, can they reward half a milestone? Can you be like you're halfway through and then you have to play another one? See, that's
Now in the
gonna
Essentials
be
kit,
tough.
I feel like the Essentials kit, because they do the milestone as well, that's something that I'm a big fan of. It does say that once the characters hit 3rd level, like every 2 of the little quests you guys go on, you get a level. So we might see something like that. But get out of here, Nick.
I told you.
I'd be
Lord-
number 1.
Everyone except Mikey, he said.
So I'm interested to see how they go. Josh, what are your thoughts on the milestone?
I'd like it. I mean, anytime that you put flexibility in the hands of the DM, I think that you're in the right, and I just think that it's on all of us to have like a true DM, like a true functional DM community, so that everybody is communicating, and that because everybody's in communication in this community, it like self-polices itself. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be the guy where it's like, oh yeah, of course your fucking character's that level. You were playing in Bobby's game. He hands out milestones like they're candy corn. You don't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? And so I love the DM flexibility. Again, going back to now, you can award if it really helps play styles like mine and Cindy's, where I want to have fun, and like if I'm having fun for 4 hours and like part of that has advanced the module, then how are you gonna, because I didn't march my guy across the miniature board and blast a bunch of monsters to pieces, like that means that I didn't do it? Or what if, we're able to come up with an ingenious idea that bypasses the whole fight? I mean, now I think that the adventure writers are going to be doing the DMs a disservice if they write stuff like these creatures are hostile and there's no negotiation. Like,
tunneling the players into specific
Don't
spots.
worry, it's season 8, season 9 writing. There's no they're all hostile. There's always an RP aspect out of it. Not exploration, but definitely an RP.
That's what I think. That's what I think it's got to be.
At least where I've play test some of the games that I've played out of it, it seems like they do give you the opportunity to negotiate your way out of it. Like Esperanza was just completely negotiating everybody's way out of there as the rogue was just jacking stuff, and then we were just getting in what's it called when they give you the little D4 to add on.
The bless. Yeah,
and everyone at the table is just getting blessed. Me and the rogue are just getting blessed like crazy, and I'm negotiating, stealing soul coins. You know what I mean? And it was just they worked the dynamic. So unless
guidance, yeah, he's right. It was probably
guidance, guidance. Sorry, and so doing that, it was like. We literally bypassed so much. So I don't know if they fixed that dynamic out of there or if they're going to keep that. But I mean,
that's what the milestone's there for. Because like, what if you negotiate, even if it's a big negotiation, like it's only like what, 4, 5, 10 minutes maybe max, bunch of conversation. And let's say you're negotiating with like 2 or 3 devils of some sort. Now, if you got to fight those guys, that's way longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so now you've skipped past it. And so that milestone flexibility allows you to still keep everybody at the right pace when somebody wants to fight versus somebody wants to try to negotiate their way through it. You know?
Yeah.
Now, following with the whole like RP way through games, I have run into situations where your player base is split between people who like to fight and people who like to role play. Following that, I've been trying to like watch these threads about like how to better challenge role play aspects, because right now, like I wouldn't say that I'm really adept at challenging the role play aspect. Because honestly, like persuasion and guidance and all these
like
things,
making it happen.
Kind of, to make it challenging to a certain point. Because if you play a character that has 1 billion charisma and can just roll persuasion and get like 30, 40 or whatever, arguably like they can just walk through the game and it's a superpower. How do you make that more challenging? Well, some of the stuff that I've kind of been reading about, in a situation where a character is who's being given guidance to roleplay a scenario, guidance isn't like a secret. Like the cleric, very blatantly says a few words and eventually like blesses the target. Seeing that action as an NPC as they're talking to you, and using some of these things to challenge the players further, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that the role play combat. I think that's something that needs to kind of get
involved. Yeah, you can't allow just the guidance spell to be cast, because I see that shit at the table a lot. I'm gonna go for this. I cast guidance. Do you? Okay, because like that's basically like now, you know, you're about ready to make an Olympic lift, and the whole room just saw that guy walk up and shoot you with some sort of magical instant steroid that's going to make you lift 20% more. And you don't think there's going to be a reaction from the room? Like maybe they're not going to walk up and put 20% more weight on the bar?
No, see, I will speak from experience. Donaldson is here to actually confirm that this is what happened, because he was at the table when this game went down. So when the guidance was cast, it was during a moment when we were a good enough distance, and we were walking towards the NPC.
Oh, yeah, no, it totally makes sense.
And so like he played it off, and I will tell you, the DM, from what I'm getting out of this season, there is going to be some role playing needed, and the DMs are. At least my DM, I loved how they played it in LA, because he called me out. He's like, oh, you're going to sing to her?
Let's go.
I want to hear your song.
Let's go.
And he not only did he make me roll for it, he made me sing. And granted, because I sang, I got inspiration for it. And I also got the pleasure of feeling the achievement of I role played my character, because the whole table's cheering, you know? But at that point, it was the DM, it's on, they're going to heavily put the call on you as a DM to make your players really work for what they have to do in this story. And I think that the player is going to have to do more than just be shouting out what they do. They're going to have to really put some thought, this is what I want to do, and this is why. Because the NPCs that are going to come out of this Baldur's Gate line of story is going to be what? Tell me. They want it from you. You know, they want you to
it's no more
why are you doing this?
Bits. There has to be motivations behind it, and
it's demons and devils.
They want to know why you're doing it, and they want to hear your tell me. I want to know why, because they want to hear how evil you can be, and unfortunately, that's true, you know. And you can find the humor in it, and that's the best part about it. But yes, that is at least what I'm seeing from this season, is that you better come heavy with your role playing.
Yeah, if you're gonna role play, it's not going to be as easy as it was maybe in previous seasons.
I got on blast playing Pathfinder this last weekend because I kept on doing Divine Sense, which in 5th edition is just you can basically use it as an action, right? But in Pathfinder, you're actually casting the spell Detect Evil. And I didn't realize that. So every time I was I'm going to cast Detect Evil, he's all right, roll initiative. I was what is going on?
I'm casting a spell.
See, and something I want to give out to the DMs right now, if you really want to inspire people to at your table to like really role play, especially in this next season, like really get them excited. Start remembering to hand out those inspirations. Because if you can reward one player at the table for role playing, you keep rewarding each character or each player at your table. You get inspiration, and you reward them. It's inspiration. I mean, what is it off from you? Nothing. You know what I mean? It gives them another extra role,
if you seize on that first good example of role playing and hit and give somebody inspiration, in my experience, it changes the entire dynamic of the table going forward. So I don't agree with just giving everybody inspiration at the beginning of the game. I've played some tables where it's like everybody gets inspiration to start the game, but I feel like even if it's minor and like maybe even arguably not deserving of inspiration, like it was slightly funny, whatever, but just the first instance of some good role playing, you're like, ha ha ha, you get inspiration. Now everyone's in that mode
because they're thinking they're gonna get inspiration if they do it better.
Humans want stuff.
And you want it, so give it to them. Give it to them. I mean, honestly,
following this talk of inspiration, this does lead into another change in Season 9. Now, in Season 8, when you started an adventure in Tier 1, you start with a health potion.
Yes,
right?
Which was nice.
It was, yeah.
That was nice.
Now, you start with a health potion, and you actually get to start with inspiration off rip in Tier 1.
There you go. So then what is it to you to just give off one more at some point if they use up that one? You know what I mean?
Sense.
Like,
I mean, I honestly in the offset of like giving them inspiration lets them do something risky. And I kind of
really
like
does.
that implement. Especially since we're going into Avernus. You're going into hell, you know?
You're gonna need all the fucking help you can get.
Get a little risky.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of neat. I kind of like that.
And I think, and it must be obvious that we're not the only ones that feel this way about the inspiration, because it seems like with this being set like that, they're giving this to us and these rules. I can feel then that maybe the writers are also kind of pushing, like maybe, because I can tell you, inspiration does not get used enough at the table.
No.
I'm constantly, when I get a DM that will give me inspiration, because I go all out. You know what I mean? Like, I literally role play and I'm hoping, I'm like looking at the DM like, did that make you laugh? Because if that made you laugh, I hope to God you give me an inspiration point. Am I going to use it? Probably not. But at least I know I have it. And I give it to somebody.
Also, following it, like as soon as you hit Tier 2, you no longer start off with inspiration in the beginning. You know, it's only levels 1 through 4. That you get to start off rip with. It's like
some training wheels.
A little bit, I think. You know, I think it's a good way to kind of get new players hooked, and to, if you're going to like really give the players a challenge in those early levels, like at least inspiration, they stand a little bit of a fighting chance.
You know,
because I mean, in our module, they fight a flesh golem. You know,
at PAX, it was anytime when we did like a bad movie quote or a bad pun or a pun or anything like that, I gave them an inspiration. Yeah. So like they were just trying to play off of that. And I had an entire group that played with me all weekend. Every time I played, they're at my table, and they were just trying to get like those puns.
Terrible puns.
You know, like, and it's so easy to just give out something that doesn't cost the DM anything. I just feel that helps, and I think that's cool that they provide that as like something at the very beginning. I agree.
Let's see. Following that, we've also got things like, what's another good thing that we should put? Oh, this is great. Characters you get to play as an Azamar this season. Tieflings also get a special perk. Actually, honestly, it doesn't matter what race you choose, you get something neat out of it.
You get to play Azamar with no PHB +1.
Yeah, that's the biggest tick. So, with Season 9, because you're going into hell, etc. No, there is a little bit of a stipulation to this. When you make a character, a Season 9 character, I mean, there's no crazy thing with it, but you get to choose being an Azamar. If you are a Tiefling, both races at 5th level, you gain the ability to kind of pick up your flying traits. From another book that doesn't count towards your player's handbook +1s. I mean, how do you guys feel about Asmars and flying? Honestly, like the big perk, like the big influence in this is flying at 5th level. Like how do you guys feel about that?
Cool. I mean, I'll be honest, like, I got my heart broken a long time ago when tieflings couldn't fly, because that was, like, the first thing that when Josh introduced to me D&D, like, I wanted to create Maleficent. I can't even talk. Maleficent. Yeah, I wanted to create Maleficent. I wanted her, like, the version from, like, the IRL movie, right? And I was like, that's what I want to be. And I'm like, and I want her to have wings and fly. And he was like, womp womp. That's not going to happen unless you get to like level, what was it, like 25 or something ridiculous?
No, you had to be at a much higher level.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, well, that's whack. And so I kind of was like over it. So now that they have it, I'm kind of like, that's cool. Like, to me, I don't know. I guess maybe I'll have to see, because I've had characters, like I can fly with Esperanza with my guitar, and I rarely ever use the wings. I mean, you know, like I don't really.
Traditionally, you've always been able to fly at 5th level.
Yeah.
Like that was always like the big determining factor when they would talk about like tier and CR before and like hit dice and challenge rating, and was like 5th level you can cast 3rd level spells, and a 3rd level spell is fly. So I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I think Midnight Cleric makes a good point when he's like, hey, dude, you know, as long as they don't create modules that you can defeat by flying, like, yeah.
There's a pretty rough, like, implementing flying into a module. We've written one. Like, implementing flying into that really, I think it'll challenge us as writers, but I think it'll make the modules a bit more fun, a bit more dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Esperanza can climb and crawl on the ceilings and stuff like that. I don't know. It just, to me, it's not like a, you know.
Other than like the possible combat advantage to flying, I mean, the concept of getting wings. Like, what do you guys think of that?
I mean, that's
like,
cool.
In character development.
I thought of making like a light cleric Aasimar dive bomber.
What?
Just armed with nothing but guiding bolts and fireballs.
Just
fly across the battlefield, just winging guiding bolts, and then when you got to drop a real bomb, you just let off a fireball.
Yeah, but I
don't know why you're like I let off a fireball.
I just feel like they're gonna do things to like accommodate that kind of stuff, and completely like mess that up and like not make it fun. Like I have a feeling that they're gonna do something that's like, oh, I cast this and that stops you, and you're like, oh, well, that sucks. You know, like they always figure out ways to combat that.
I'm looking forward to spells and abilities that like restrain characters. So while they're flying, like if I could throw a net at them, like
yeah, that's what Celador just said, like a room full of spider webs.
Yeah. Like, that's something that, like, me as a DM is excited for. Like, I like when players can come to the table with these crazy builds, and it challenges me as a DM to make it fun, but also, like, challenge them in all of their glory.
We got to think challenge rating, too. Like, what if, you know, all these devils can fly into the air. They all can cast spells.
Yeah. So
they all fly into the air at 70 feet, 80 feet. And then they cast spells.
Look at
now all you can do is hit them with 120-foot range spells. all your super archers, your melee, your barbarian damage resistance, like that guy, all that stuff's eliminated. And now he's got every target on the battlefield.
That's
so
right.
You have to be your tanks have to be able to fly now. They have to be able to fly.
Yeah, and all I have to say to that is like now for the players out there, if you walk into a room, always look up. I mean, now that has to be part of, like, what you do. Like, someone's always got to be ready to looking up. Because you know now at this point, if they're going to give you wings, then it's safe to say that everybody's going to have wings.
Fair. It's like adding jump packs to the shooting games. Once they added jump packs, it changed everything.
Everybody's got
because you thought you had everything because you had this sorted. But now you have to go 360 degrees because there's stuff above you flying.
Mm-hmm.
They're flying under the rooftops. So, anyways, I think that stuff's cool. Like all the little things that you get to start with. where is it?
The faction stuff is pretty cool.
No, like you get to start with the lingering legacy of evil. So if you create the season 9 character, when you roll to determine the number of temporary hit points gained by a soul coin's drain life property, you can roll twice and choose either result. So, and then you lose that trait at the end of season 9 for the season 9 modules. But I think that's really cool. Like those little inherited the little inherited malevolence that you can take because you
that was the other thing I wanted to bring up. Because if you choose an Asthma or a Tiefling, like you get a little bit of a special like level 5, the flying.
Right.
So what do you do for like? Well, I still want to play a human or a halfling, and inherited malevolence kind of gives all of those other races. It's not a big thing, but when you choose one of these races, you get to start with any common magic item from Xanthar's Guide to everything, except for like magical armor, weapons, and a couple other little things. But underneath that, the item has one of the following features kind of incorporated into the design. And there's a D20 chart of just crazy things. And I like the roleplay aspect of like, if you pick, some mundane item, but you roll a 12 on the chart, it's like
profane prayers written on scraps of flesh.
Yeah, you somehow incorporate.
Shit is gonna get metal this season, dude.
Oh, flecks of blood that never wash off, like. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff.
I like human hair or skin. Like incorporating that into like a common magic item. That would be I think that's kind of cool and kind of wacky.
Teeth from a large unknown creature. That sounds like a really cute pair of earrings.
So, an unexpended soul coin. Like, all of these things. I'm a fan of that. I think that's cool. It's a little bit of love to non-Asmar and Tieflings.
Mm-hmm.
Although, following, like, all of these things, like, this really is going to reflect back on the magic item limits. So, Inherited Malevolence, when you get to choose a magical, any common magic item, it does count against that one magic item you get when you first start.
Did we talk about Renown?
No, we're not yet.
Hey!
Thank you for the subscription. We love you. You know we love you.
Oh, I hope you're here because we've been talking about you.
No, I thought that was Donaldson. Isn't that the same person?
DM Danny M, I believe, is probably the same as his Instagram, which would be Danny Morales.
Well, then who was Donaldson? Because they said that they were listening.
Danilton is Daniel.
Oh, different Daniel then. Okay.
Daniel-san.
Oh, then Danny M has not heard us talk about him earlier.
I think it was Daniel.
It was?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I think
Oh, right. Switcher today. Okay, cool.
So
you did hear it.
That,
I was right.
Yay! When you do create your character and you start building your background, if you choose
same number one crybaby. See what you did? You asshole.
Same
I didn't say that.
So when you create a character,
hey, dude, I at least when I shouted him out as number one crybaby, I did say that he had a hell of a point. Because that day we were talking on Facebook, I just opened up with like, okay, what's your problems?
Oh my God.
Like, just tell me. And then he's like, and I knew he was going to start on the magic item limit. But then the point he made, I was like, you know what? That makes sense, dude. Because like Danny DMs like fucking like what, like 5 nights a week, like for a specific purpose. Like, I want these items. I'm doing all this work. I'm playing by the book.
That was me up until season 8, and then season 8 came out. I was like, I'm done.
And then it's like, wait till you see. Have you seen this fucking Oathbreaker he's got?
I've seen like a picture of the name of the character. That's about it.
You gotta read about it.
Can we talk about the DM stuff here? Because I'm gonna be DMing this season, and I want to know what changes are coming. Because I thought I was supposed to get all kinds of rewards.
We will approach that in a moment. The
rewards aren't released yet.
Yeah, that's not released yet.
The only things that we have really left to talk about are like the fraction membership perks, and then one thing that I kind of like is the renowned suspensions. So like you can get suspended for like, so at tier 1 you can start with inspiration and health potion, right? But let's say that you attacked another character without the consent of their player and the dungeon master.
You could do that now?
Well, but you also
if
get suspended.
do,
That's so not.
It's not very. It's not like. Well, I mean, they've got other things like it's at DM discretion.
Here we go. Here we go.
Like disruptive behavior.
Let's get the chat going right now,
hostility,
dude.
overtly evil acts. That's up for discussion. But
yes,
these things you can get suspended from your renown benefits. So that's kind of neat.
Oh no, I don't get to start with the potion of healing
Or inspiration.
Oh no!
But how do you know that? How do you even translate that into another game?
We get a stamp that says you've been suspended. Big red stamp, and just.
So then, how do we get these stamps? Okay, this is going to be interesting.
We'll just start stamping stuff.
Oh my god, we just get a smiley face for everybody.
Can I see your log sheet?
Suspended.
What just happened?
Suspended.
You've been suspended.
You've been suspended, dude.
Oh my god, we gotta get a special pip-up one or something like that. So it's
I'm tired because I wanted to slam the Zent. I'm gonna call him out. I wanted to slam retired on his character sheet for doing evil things.
Oh my god!
Like sinking a ship full of civilians.
Or how about what he did to He's good.
It's fine. Nothing happened.
Fridge just says, "You will not stamp my iPad."
Get some, Fritz. So the other thing to go around is when you create a character and you start
to get real.
You start getting into your backgrounds. Said DT approved. You get into your backgrounds. If you take the safe haven background, you get to choose a fraction. You become a fraction member.
Faction.
Not fraction.
Because you're part of the whole pie.
Then look at me getting him like Josh would.
Part of the whole.
There's 6 different fractions here. So you need to
Now, whether you've done trigonometry or not, it's okay. All right. So when you take the fractions, faction. When you get to choose a faction, and when you start the game, you have the opportunity to kind of gain a magical ring bearing the faction's insignia. So it's another thing you get to start with a magic item, either like a ring of protection, a ring of all sorts of things. Personally, I like the Harper's Ring of Free Action. I love that ring. I think it's a phenomenal ring.
But I will never join the Harper's.
Animal influence is cool.
You were all about the Harpers when you first started playing, dude.
Yeah, because I was a cleric and I gave a shit. And then I was like, wait a second. Zentz is going to get Esperanza far.
Ring of Evasion from
That's like going to the Italian Mafia and hoping that you become like Frank Sinatra.
Now, again,
you know what
I mean? This faction perk does count towards your magical item limit.
DM Danny has a correction for you.
You don't get a ring till T2?
That's why I like that Danny's here right now. This is nice. This is like having him in the room without having to have him.
The only thing, okay, I was complaining about this earlier.
He just got your character sheet. He just said, Mikey,
I don't.
why do you have a ring here? You're not supposed to have this ring until T2 from work. Not even watching.
Yeah, he's at work right now.
So here we go. I'm sorry. So tier 2 is seasoned. So level 5.
Yes, Fritz, he does. He does have them knowledge bombs.
He does. Thank you, Danny.
I like Celador.
So on top
what did he
of
say?
that,
a fraction of them all.
You're all firing. I'm gonna get at all of you. So tier 2, it doesn't matter whether you have the safe haven background or not. You get a magic item from it. Seasoned characters gain +1 weapon, shield, a rod, or a wand. All of this you can kind of incorporate into your background of sorts. If you do have the safe haven background, you get to choose a magical ring.
Should we talk about that safe haven background? Look, I don't know how many other people are out there were screwing this up, but Cindy and I it was so confusing in season 8 about what happened with factions. Mm-hmm. And it was such an integral part of season 7 to where
season 1 through 4
were huge. Yeah. So we were like, well, we have to be part of a faction. It's everything. It's like our whole backstory is Zentarum smugglers, Mastica, all that stuff. So we thought that you had to have the faction agent background in order to have a faction, and this has been the most concisely clarified I've seen, where it says no, you just have to replace your background feature.
Yes.
With safe haven, which makes it so much cooler because now we can go back. We blew rebuilds to make it faction agent background because we wanted to stay Zentarum. Mm-hmm. So now we can go back to our original, which was Charlatan, and I was a smuggler archetype. So
I think you have to. I think that just came with season 8 that you can pick, but if you didn't know that you could pick, you could still probably technically pick. Danny might call me out on that, but
he said Danny might call me out on that, but I'm pretty sure
I'd allow you to just pick at that time, once you realize what that means.
It also has they tell you that you can also leave your faction as well. You can swap out your safe haven feature for another feature when you're done when you don't want to be a part of a faction anymore.
More flexibility.
Cool.
More flexibility means more role playing. More role playing means more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So then they also allow you can also pop around between factions. All of these things do follow suspensions. However,
there's the stamp again.
Did
you say you were going to change faction? What? Suspended.
What day is it today? All right, 14 days. Okay, 2092. There we go. You're suspended for the next 100 years.
We're gonna have a little sign at the admin table. If you switch factions on or before this day, you cannot purchase.
We have to get some kind of faction ID.
So it looks like
people.
one, yeah.
That would be hilarious.
But this is so clear. For organizer wise, now we know what to have available. This is very easy to explain.
The gold I give you, you keep.
The only shoe the other shoe that's still up in the air is the conversion. What's the conversion going to be?
That's true.
For guys like Danny and Ben who have a bazillion magical items, what's the conversion going to be? Is it going to go into a bank? What do you get for it?
Play test with that wizard's got 27 magic items that I let you guys borrow.
Yeah.
Not including what I had.
So he's got to go to what then? 27. What's tier 4? 12.
He's tier 2.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So I got to go down to 2 items.
So I mean,
yeah.
All of this stuff is still pending. This isn't finalized until the 17th, which is a week from today. Following that,
I'd say this is a pretty stout preview, though.
It's a very stout preview. Following they did with seasonality. They changed seasonality because they listened to the community.
I would agree. The community was outraged at seasonality.
I think it was 99.5% negative.
Yeah, and with magic items, it's.
Or, I don't know. I get it. I totally get it. As you guys are very creative. And it's not that I don't want to say you guys don't aren't looking at business wise, but from the business aspect of it, I get it. I can see you got the people, you want to lock them into the game. You want to, want them to make sure they buy that new book, so on and so forth. Because you're releasing these new cool little perks. Yeah. But I feel like this is a much softer way to implement that, and I don't even know if they're going in that direction or not. But if they do, then it's fine.
All of it is just about balancing the game. It's going to be a huge challenge.
So Fritz wrote on here, DMs don't get to play anyways, so it's irrelevant how many magic items you think you have, Ben.
With all the memes I found that related to this last night.
But I will say though, Fritz, is that this season, from my take on what I've seen that the DMs have to do, you actually you get to play on your end. It feels like you are playing a different side of the game. It's not just running a story. There's a little bit more challenge on both ends, I think. Not just for the player, but for the DM to have to be able to role play themselves also even more than what you had to before, and you get to kind of play around with it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more options, I think, in this season for what is done.
Yeah. My only big gripe, I guess, would have to be with magic items. I think that the limiting factor, I think we could keep that. It's almost an attunement to your level, kind of. That makes sense to me. However,
how much you can take with you.
Yeah. However, I think you should have a bank.
We have a new person in.
We have who? We have a new person.
Insta Straw here.
Insta Straw.
Or insert Straw here.
Insert Straw here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that
tattooed.
tattooed.
Name, but yes, welcome to the room.
Hello and welcome.
And we're talking about season 9 of Adventures Link for Dungeons and Dragons.
Just right on the ear, dog. Boop. But I think it would be really cool if they could implement a bank system so that, because I would like to have a bunch of magic items and be able to pick through them on what I want to come with.
Can it be account bound?
Oh, that's what Josh was saying. Is like, what if
bind on pickup?
BOPs, dude. They're all BOPs.
What's their BOA? Bind on account. So all my
BOAs. There we go. Can they level up with me? Like, can I have a BOA?
There was that in season 7 where you could get shields and armor and weapons I could level with you.
See, that's what I want. I want to get some BOAs.
That was a Warcraft thing because they had those legacy armors that you could buy that you could.
I spent all my gold on BOAs. I got all of them.
Here's my meme that I just sent to Charles. So when you decide to run a game, even though you really want to be the player because nobody else will, that's what heroes do.
He said, "You know what my other favorite is the one from Attack on Titan where he goes, does a 26 hit?" And the player's like, "What?" He goes, "I'm sorry, that was really weird to ask." And it's just when you've been playing high tier characters all the time. It's a T1 player. It's like, does a 26 hit? What? Oh, sorry, that was really weird to ask.
You're such a nerd. I love it.
So, but yeah, a bank system would be really cool. Even if you remove trading, really, because that just pushes players to play all the modules. And because I mean, if you have something that I want, I could just go get it. I mean, I'll have to find a DM who will run the module, but
Fritz was making the point that it's good to get people like resetting characters because once people get in that T3 T4 range, like that's all they want to do.
Yeah,
and you can get real stagnated, and that was my biggest problem with seasonality was like I'm gonna have to make another new character, because like her and I make all these concept characters together, and we got some good ones, and we wanted to keep playing them, but now.
So
you know what I want to see?
What?
Is for these high tiers, I want to see like arena battles. I want to see, because, I mean, there's not a lot of content. I mean, for tier 4, because people can't really submit any tier 4s and it's world-changing events and stuff.
Plus, with the magical item limit, it makes that easier now. But then it becomes like a meta.
Kind of.
Then it becomes like an Overwatch thing where like people are trying to figure out what's the ideal combo of classes and combo of items.
That's
since you're
true.
limited.
I would like to see some kind of like arena, like something that is like replayable over and over again for these high tier players.
I have always wanted to do something like that too.
Remember? Yeah, we've always wanted to do.
Okay, so Thursday is going to be our arena battles. Every Thursday we'll build characters with the intent to kill the other player off. So you have to start a fresh character. So at the end of every season, you take your strongest dudes into an arena fight. And then they get killed off because, why not?
For honor.
For honor. They get a stamp, retired.
Like Coliseum, like...
And then if your character
status.
dies, they get resurrected, but they're at
like
level
Roman.
1. Boom!
We got the map for it.
We have the map for it. I have arena... We got so many maps, dude. Icy Plains in a cavern. Why does this cavern look like
So can I say as a player, like what? Because I'm fairly new compared to you guys in playing Dungeons and Dragons, and like what I've always imagined, what I thought. So the title is Dungeons and Dragons. So like I want to play a game because I haven't played like these tier 4s, and a lot of the people that I know of that play.
You've never seen a dragon in the wild, huh?
No. So when I play these games and like I've never gotten to tier 4, but the people that I know that play these tier 4 games, they're normally like, oh, it's more about like the DM's trying to kill off your character because now this is where you're at because everyone's trying to meta game the whole thing, like show off, like flexing on what they have at this point. Mm-hmm. And like I think that's kind of whack. I wish they would figure out a way of creating it where it's like it still gives you that same feel of like a tier 1, tier 2 game where you're in an adventure and now you're going to bigger and badder monsters and you want to feel like a badass with your teammates defeating these monsters. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm battling against the DM. I want to feel like I'm battling against any other creature like I did in tier 1 and 2. You know what I mean? Like, the whole point of playing Dungeons and Dragons is to go battle a fucking dragon when I'm strong enough to battle a fucking dragon.
Let's make it happen.
And make it feel like I'm like this cool adventurer. Like I want to feel like a badass at the end of the game. You know, like that's ultimately what I would hope these games are starting to get to, is where it's like you've reached this high tier and you're going in to battle something, and we're going to go in it together, and we're going to hope you defeat it and walk out of there. And if you die, then I get it. You know what I mean? Like it's the bigger the risk.
Following all of this. So lore wise, Avernus is the first level of hell, right? Of the 9 hells. In Avernus, Tiamat is supposed to be there. We could very well start seeing some dragons. I was just like thinking about, like I was reading it over, and I'm like, oh yeah, Tiamat resides there, and like Asmodeus was like, you're a pretty terrible general, but I like you, so you can kind of hang out. She has like a whole zone in Avernus, just as Tiamat zone. The Queen of Dragons, Doc. We could very well see some like dragon world-ending BS in Avernus. You don't have to worry about destroying Faerun at all, or any of that area.
Red dragons.
Boom. Just make it happen.
You need to.
I want to see like corrupted.
Like we've fought like a baby. No, not a baby. I don't know. We fought something, and I was like, that was really whack. Like I've never actually been around like a dragon because I've never been high.
Like getting the fear of like an ancient dragon.
Yeah, I've never encountered that, and like I feel like the only way I'm gonna get that is at a homebrew. Like that sucks. Like I want to be able to go
and tier 4. I'm ready, guys. Like,
dude, like
you guys are high tier stuff.
I'm
waiting.
Let's go.
I'll run against the giants. Let's go.
So,
I'll bring all my giants.
All in all, everything that we've read and kind of, I mean, there's still changes for DMs and perks and things like that won't come out till later. But following everything that we've kind of gone through, like, what's your impression of going into season 9? After we've talked about things.
Wait, what? I was reading right here on the. I was reading what Fritz said. Sorry.
Moving into season 9.
Yes.
After everything we've kind of talked about, like, what are some final thoughts or some final feelings about season 9 that you have? Things are still up in the air to change, but ultimately, like how are you feeling about season 9?
I feel great about it. I think it's. I'm not as worried as some people are, because the things that other people are worried about, it's because they've been playing for so long. So I get it. Like to them, it's like all these changes could be like crazy. For me, these changes don't really bother me. I don't play the game for some of the changes that are being made. Like I said earlier, like I vocalized, like the changes that I was scared of, they took those out, and I'm not worried about it. So I'm excited. I'm excited as a new DM coming into this new season. Like I'm really excited about the storyline. Isn't this one of the storylines that kind of made like Dungeons and Dragons like, oh no,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like this is the story,
this second
isn't it?
edition with the Blood War, or is that first edition?
I mean, this is it's somewhat first edition, but this is they're kind of doing something. I don't want to. I mean, it's all kind of there already, but it's kind of original at this point.
Well, yeah, because they've added Zariel
because basically I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like we're talking about like iconic cities that are trying to be dragged down into hell, and so it's kind of if you really want to know what's going on ahead of this season, go play the first 2 Baldur's Gate games.
Yeah,
like that storyline directly leads into what you're gonna see in the
also in
hardcover book.
And the stories in there too.
That'll tell you about Avernus, but this whole like the demons and all that stuff, like that takes place throughout the first 2 Baldur's Gate video games, and that's a lot of the background for what you're gonna have here. That's why Baldur's Gate was on the map in the first place. It was like, we want to make a video game. Well, we don't want you to make a video game that affects the rest of the world too heavily. So you know what? Here's Baldur's Gate. Yeah. And they said, "Here, hold.
Where is it? North.
Hold my keyboard. Let us go make a couple of iconic video games." Baldur's Gate, and then it was like, well, I guess this is gonna have to be part of the canon now because this is way too important.
But
it is north, right? I'm not just saying that. Baldur's Gate's like super far north on the map. I thought. Yeah.
But I mean, back to the storyline. Like I'm, and what my excitement of the season is, I'm really excited about the concept of like what if like a good like a good paladin gets dropped into hell, like what happens to you after being down there for
moral
a while?
quandaries.
You know what I mean? Like I love that concept. I love to see like how dark people can detach themselves from their everyday life and come and sit at this game and like figure out that balance. You know what I mean? And getting to do that with like strangers, I think that's something to explore the inner psyche of yourself while you're sitting there at the table. And I think that's really fucking cool. And I think that when people are able to detach from what the rules are and all that stuff, and then just kind of focus on the storyline, I think people are going to have way more fun with it.
That's fair. I like the moral quandaries of like a lawful good paladin going into hell and like not only what that does for that character, but how that player is going to kind of interpret all of these decisions and like really go through it.
And that's why I think it's really awesome that they went ahead and took off seasonality, because I like the fact that like, what if you have a character that you are very attached to, but you like kind of feel bored with who they are, and you kind of want to see what happens to them when you drop them in a place like this.
Yeah.
Like I started to see sides of Esperanza at the end of the game that I was playing that I was like, damn, I didn't think she would be capable of doing something like that, but she did it to get out of there. You know what I mean? And I think that was kind of a cool thing that I had to put myself through, my character through. And I think that if we can, like I said, if we can focus on not the rules, this season can be one of the coolest seasons that I've played and that I've read up on from the past seasons that I missed. I think even cooler than Curse of Strahd of a storyline, you know?
To an extent. I
mean,
mean,
no, Curse of Strahd is amazing, like the concept of that too. But the concept of like the demons and the devils and the war that's going on, and then having to like come across like Medusa and like all these characters that you're gonna come across, the car battles, like the Mad Max like concept of it too,
infernal machines or what have you.
Oh, I mean, it's just there's so many different layers of it that's just kind of like, how desperate is your character in this situation? You know what I mean? Like I
also like that and like soul coins and like when you carry
the weight of the soul coin, like how much it is on you. Yeah. Like to have your own is one thing, but then to have to carry somebody else's soul, like again, that's a little bit of that like, ooh, you know, that who are you? And I'm really excited about it. I think season 9 is going to be one of the coolest seasons, and I think that the fact that we, and as a just where we are right now in culture wise, I think this is a really cool time to bring something out like this. You know, because it kind of makes you look at different aspects of yourself and what would you do if you were this desperate. And here's a way to fantasize and role play it out. You know?
And how about you, Joshua? What do you think going into this season?
I'm pumped for the season. I was excited before. I was excited for the content. I was worried about the changes. And now I think that they've allayed all those fears, at least for me. And I'm excited. I'm excited to make a new character. I'm excited to take my existing characters in. As an organizer, it's allayed a lot of my fears that we weren't going to get good participation because people were going to be angry that we were going to further lose participants in Adventures League because of the changes. And so I think that's all. I think we're going to be able to gain people back. And I think this is going to be really popular. It's something that Baldur's Gate name is something that people who aren't even heavily associated with D&D are going to recognize from the video game sphere. So I think it's a really good time, and I think we're going to have a really, really fun year next year organizing events around Season 9. I'm looking forward to it. Lots of cool costumes, lots of devil stuff.
The aesthetic of it, like the whole like theme of it is really... I
look forward to seeing some of your cosplays. I look forward to seeing like some of Audrey's tiefling cosplays that she'll put together. Like I'm really looking forward to some of the cosplay aspect. Yeah. I saw someone that was cosplaying Pip Yap with like a red fanny pack and like a red... I've already seen some cool stuff, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what the crew puts together for some of the cosplays.
That's why I'm really glad we did the rules now and got this boring shit and like, you know, like out of the way. Because like I said, I don't... For the rest of this...
Give us a follow.
Who did?
Insert straw here.
Insert straw here!
Hey,
thank you for the support.
Yes. Also, can I read what they wrote?
Yeah.
She wrote.
Cool insights.
She's like, if they said I ride on my bicycle or something like that, and I was the DM and that wasn't an appropriate vehicle, I'd give them a Mastiff named motorcycle. That's hilarious. And then I imagine in their player's head that they're a motorcycle, but everyone else is seeing a giant dog. That way it doesn't ruin immersion for others. Eventually, the player might stop doing stuff like that because it isn't getting the response they expected.
I'm imagining like this person that's like riding the Mastiff like a motorcycle is like literally hallucinating like, oh, the gears.
Dude,
look
if
at
it's a bard and they're singing bicycle, you can go.
You can get out of here.
Oh, that would be great. And then imagine if it was a gnome. But yeah, I mean, I really the remainder times that when we come to bring in any of the games and we start to do some of our live stream or we do some of our stuff through Roll20 that we stream later on for this coming season, I don't want people to focus too much of like, oh, well, how much gold did they get? And I don't want us to focus on that. I want us to focus on the story because it's so fucking cool. And that's why, like I said, let's get the boring shit out. And we did it. The rules are done. Well, we move on.
I would say I'm also very excited for season 9. I like where the story is headed. I think that the changes and the power they're giving to DMs is really going to kind of benefit me and my storytelling and make it really fun and interactive with the players. So that's great. The milestones are beautiful, and I'm a huge fan of the milestone. A part of me does miss old school experience points where you would calculate and do all that crazy nonsense. However, like getting rid of that and focusing more on the game and using milestones, it's nice. It's a nice breather. It's a nice.
You have no idea, dude. Every class used to have a different experience chart.
It was.
See, and I just
AD&D.
See, and I don't want to focus on that. The lore and the storyline behind what, like, the history that's been built and the new things that, like, Chris Lindsay and Perkins and all of them are kind of bringing back up. Eberron's coming.
Okay, well,
that's something that I'm also very excited
for. It just, there's, and, like, Keith, the world that Keith Baker has built there, like, for me, like, there's so many cool stories. This story, we need to focus more on being able to remember, because sometimes I go in there and I feel like I'm stressed out and I'm playing these games because I want to make sure we don't fuck up, and it's like, and we got to build these points, and then at the end I'm like, I don't remember the story, and I want to remember the story, you know what I mean? And I think it's really important for you guys that are DMing, like, try to make your story as memorable as possible. The only remember, which is the one that we did where there was like, it was like a time machine.
Hot tub time machine.
No, it was the time machine. Remember where there was a bubble and you had, and like you got.
Oh yeah, that was season 8.
The story was like, but the DM, if you got a good DM, like when Danny and I sat at his table and he's explaining to me like you get sucked in and you're seeing these stuff pass by you, and like the way he explained it, if you can be that DM that can really dig in and like think about your favorite movie and put that on there for your player, like to me, it just makes everything so much more lively and colorful and beautiful, and your player walks away remembering the games that they play.
You know, like you're traveling through time.
Yeah. That's. Do you remember what that is?
I feel like that's something from the Twilight Zone.
No.
Get out of here. Wayne's World, and you gotta go down.
Yeah.
I didn't even.
What do you mean super fire?
Plus, Josh only knows about that because they recorded where he grew up in.
Yeah.
Remember at the church over there in Laverne?
Yep, across the street from Bonita High School.
Yep. Anyways, we go off tangent here, but yeah, I mean, we do the rules because it's important to know these rules as we're going into them. But I don't want. I can't stress to you guys.
They were more than just rules this time. It was like a serious for a lot of people, like, let me relax. It's not going to be, they're not going to jerk me. They jerked me hard left in season 8, and now I'm getting tugged back to the right and slamming into this. Like, they righted the ship. I feel like, of course, it's never going to be perfect for everybody. You can't have it. It can't be. It's got to be a one size fits all kind of thing, and you got to try to incorporate as many people as you can. And I feel like they've really done a good job with that. Like the new administrative team is like, I love how on top of it, like Amy Lynn Durza and Lisa Penrose and Travis Remains and some they're answering the questions now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was one of the big problems. And you know, everybody understood. Everybody understood that it was a transitional period for them, and that it was a lot of things were in flux over there. But now that they've righted the ship, in going through that and coming in and seeing it the way it was, and then having it go into flux and then having it come out again, I feel like they've put everything in a really good position for the continued growth of the game through Adventures League. Because as again, being on that organizing side of it, it's crucial. You know, and this drops that barrier down again for getting these people to buy into the Adventures League, you know, and that means we're going to be printing. You can really see it through the amount of premates, like that are getting taken versus not taken.
Oh yeah.
And so when people are taking their premates with them, that means they're grabbing log sheets. And for the first time at the last convention, I saw people grabbing log sheets again. You know, and you guys were doing a really good job explaining it to them, but I feel like the log sheets will disappear fast now. People will want to do this, and these premates will get picked up and taken home and rejiggered and brought back, and you're going to see these characters now. People are going to want it's very easy to explain to somebody. So here's your advancement sheet. Write down my information. This is what happened. You're on to the next adventure.
Yeah, there's no more like you don't have to do the checkpoints, the plus and the minus and all that stuff.
Let me explain something. As a mother to a 9-year-old and having been around kids around the age between 9 to 13, this new generation wants instant gratification. They don't want to keep tabs of things. They don't keep notebooks of stuff. They want easy milestones that are easy to track. So things that are laid out there for them. They want to be able to do something and get instantly rewarded for it. And I think that the changes that these guys made for this season is giving these young kids that exact thing to pull them away from the electronics and make it even more simple to then provide them with this game so that they can come here and socialize and do something different outside of the video game that they're in front of. And a lot of these kids want to detach, but they also still want that instant gratification because that's what they're used to. And I think that having these milestones allows for these new kids to come and play and be like, all right, fine. If you're gonna tell me that I level up right afterwards, I'll come and play then, you know?
They want progression.
Yeah, and they want it immediately. They want it instantly. They don't want to have to I gotta play how many times and then I gotta get this much points and only this story gives me that much. This is so boring. I'm over it. And that's how my 9-year-old reacted. But if we allowed him to just go in there and be like, okay, after each game, which he got that at his camp, if you give them after every time we play, you get a milestone. You get to go up to this level. And at the end of the week, he was like a level 5. And he was like super excited where when he played AL with us, with his other character, he didn't level up as quick.
And it's impossible to explain to a 9-year-old about ACP and TCP. And they he can get it, but it's a definite barrier it's a definite barrier in his immersion. You know, where it's just like, wait, what? Like to him, everything else in his life is experience points and levels. Yep. That's how that's all is. We had to approach it like that through educationally with his teachers. It had to be, and you leveled up. We had to give him this video game reward system for him to be able to feel like he was going somewhere with it because of the fact that he's gifted. But I think most kids do better under that type of reward system. And I think that bringing it into a game like this, where now we can bring these new generation of kids to come play and enjoy these stories with their parents or their friends or their siblings or whatever it may be, or the whole family in general. It's just, it allows the immersion for everyone. It allows you to focus on the story and everyone to feel like they're a winner. And I hate to say that, I get it, not everybody's a winner to some people, but at the same time, this is a fucking game. It's an RPG fantasy role-playing game, and I think you should be able to feel satisfied when you put in 3 to 4 hours of your time and day and feel like you walked away with something.
And I think that that's what I will admit that these rules did give that opportunity to feel that way. Maybe you're not walking away with as much treasure as you would want, but to the kid that doesn't play as much as you may have played before, he doesn't see it that way. He sees like, hey, I got something, you know?
I got some stuff.
And now I'm leveled up and I've got a little bit more armor and I'm more buffer and it's just, you know.
He said, I defeated Strahd and all I got was a silly t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got a sun sword I never get to use ever again in any other game. Yay. You know what I mean? Like, it's the truth.
Yes, I do.
You know what? You do use it?
No, I know what you mean.
Oh, see what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, this kind of gives you a different feel. Maybe to the more seasoned player, it doesn't feel that way to you because you've played different ways and there's a way you like. But we need new players so that WotC gets more involved in this dynamic of what we're trying to do here also. I feel like the more people that get into the game, the more involvement we're going to see from WotC and the D&D division on giving us more content, better content, you know, having more of this world be developed. That's just how I think that if we bring more people, they get more involved.
At the conventions.
And what? And signs at the conventions, yes.
We had a sign. We had a big sign.
Yeah.
Well, we created it.
Shout out to Michelle. She was the artist for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Big old sign. But I was gonna say, you know what would be interesting is if WotC is like, okay, let's throw out all of the organized play stuff, homebrew rules, have fun. I really want to see like what do you think?
That would be chaos. No, there has to be some
sun swords,
structure.
whatever, dude. Go for it. Like I don't care. Homebrew. Oh yeah, I picked up this ring of like I can live forever and never die.
That would be cool if they created like special legendary modules that allowed you to kind of do stuff like that.
They just had a homebrew module. Like,
oh wait! What did Danny say? It's also a system that is ripe for abuse. Power leveling without learning is its own problem.
He's true. Nothing's more frustrating when you're playing a game than like you start playing with somebody and you're like, how do you not know some of the basic like mechanics of this character? Because like I've been there, actually like sitting next to him like at a game where I wanted to play at this tier with him, and I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna level my character up to that tier using my DM points, and I realized like I jumped from like level 6 to like tier 4 or tier 3. I don't remember, but I jumped. I think it was to tier 3. I jumped all the way to tier 3. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. You know, I was like, okay, what's my higher level heals? Oh, I don't even know. That doesn't even work like that in this edition. You know, like you got to burn a higher level spell slot. And I'm looking at all the, and so, yeah, I mean, that is a problem. If people are just tossing out milestones like that and you get to level 5, 6, 7, and you don't know what's going on.
The level 5 paladin attacks once. It's cute.
Well, that's why, again, it's up to the DM to find that happy median. You know, don't be over the top one way and don't be under either.
Yeah, that's true.
Fritz says, I feel everyone in our industry has learned from Game Workshop about not putting a structure in place for organized play.
Yeah. That's a good point. That was tough.
It's tough, dude. I want to see. I
what
want.
happened with Games Workshop? Do you guys know?
Season.
It revolves around Warhammer.
Yeah.
I want season 10 for them to incorporate homebrew rules.
It'll be season 10 or season X.
It'll be season X. Season H1.
Homebrew.
Season HB1.
H1N1.
Is it confessional time here pretty soon for you guys?
For you too.
Yeah, dude, you're doing confessions today,
You're
not me.
Starting off. We need the entire. We are getting to the end.
I did an emotional one last week.
You're gonna do an emotional one this week?
Nah, I don't know.
No. You sure?
Yeah, I don't have any emotional things this week.
That's fair.
And we didn't get to our spells.
No,
we didn't. We didn't get to spells again.
Thank you, Ben, however, for printing out this 20-page...
Which we'll use next week.
Yeah.
I think I'll be here next week again, too.
Oh, fantastic. We'd love to have you.
So next week...
Did Ben just say no? Oh, I thought he said no. I was like, ah!
Next week, I think we'll readdress the season 9 updates because it'll be finalized and released. So we might touch on that just a little bit. We'll go over some of our favorite spells, some of our thises, some of our that's. In the meantime,
I'd like to ask a question. This is a really good question before we end the insert straw. Stephanie also asked, for Adventures League, what do you think the percentage of vets to newbies is? This is a really good question for you guys because you guys are the ones who do a lot of the organization.
Yeah. Legitimately, if I were to put a number on it from...
Are we talking? If you're talking hotel cons or convention center cons, I'd say it's like 70-30 newbies to vets.
Yeah.
And at a hotel con, I'd say it's like 60-40 vets to newbies.
Legitimately, like if I would categorize a newbie as someone who also hasn't played in a long time. Someone who stopped playing.
Yeah, like it's 3-5. Yep. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
So like years have passed. Like incorporating players like that, I would honestly say that it's like I would go 50-50 overall amongst everything. At Ren Fair, it's like 90-10. Like everyone at Ren Fair
was
new.
A lot of new people.
Yeah. It would be 1,000 players.
It was safe to say 1 out of 4, because it was normally a group of like 4 people, and only one person would be like, I play, and everybody else didn't, and then they would sign up. So like it would be safe to say 1 out of 4 players were new.
But it would be crazy.
Or were vets.
It was crazy weighted. Like essentially everyone at Ren Fair was new. And then at PAX this year, running on our side, because I didn't do any of the AI stuff, but in terms of AL, somewhere around like 75% of the player base was new, except for the returning guys. Like we did have a handful of returning guys, but ultimately, like it was very similar to Ren Fair, where it would be a group of 5 or 6 people. They say, I've played, these guys have never played, we want to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's the D&D is as popular as it's ever been, and it's still climbing. It's still new players are still coming by all the time. Mm-hmm. So I can't count the amount of times that people come up. I've never played this before. How do I do it? Mm-hmm. And it's, my spiel is always the same. Well, you're in the right place. It all begins with you telling me exactly what you just told me.
Yeah, at Gen Con, the only table that I sat at, there was 4 new players. No. There was 2 new players, but 3 of them were new that day. So it was like their second or third game.
Yeah.
So they were still fairly new. And then the guy sitting immediately next to me was a veteran like I was. So he had been playing as probably longer than me, if anything. But yeah. So I mean, it's
in terms of new player base, it's drastic. There are equal to, if not more, new players than there are vets. And
Welcome, Hard Power.
It's quickly moving past that. So.
They're asking about stores, and stores is like 90% veteran, 10% new players, and new players are just hard to maintain because like they get in there the first time and they see all these people doing all these things
that's fair.
Like from the veteran players, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. But we still get about 1 or 2 new players, probably a month, that come in and try it.
That's fair.
And then Adventures League is really good for coming in at an FLGS and finding a homebrew campaign to play with. So they come in and then they find their homebrew campaign, and then they stop coming to Adventures League, but they still play their homebrew campaign.
Yeah.
But I like it. I mean, we see a bunch of new faces. We see a bunch of returning faces.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That honestly, that's why I do it. I do it because I collect things in game, and I like to collect things in real life. So I like to collect as many new players as possible.
She said, "Give me your hair."
Building a doll. I have like little tiny vials that I put underneath the microscope just to remember each person. I'm like, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not that creepy. But I will say that that's kind of why I do it, because I like seeing the community grow. Because like I said, if I see that there's more players, then it justifies for me to come at like and ask people at WotC, like, why aren't we doing more? look at how many people we're bringing in. Like the numbers are saying it right here. And I think that the more people we bring in, the more of a bigger deal they're going to make this for us.
That's fair. Shall we move on to confessions now?
Yeah, confession time, and then we will be off for the day.
Yeah.
Wait, because he is the cleric, are we supposed to be confessing to him now?
No. No.
All right, Mikey, you start off confession, because I don't really have a confession. I've been a good girl this week.
Liar. I know what you've been up to all week.
Nothing. Sleeping.
I will start off confessions. This week was the first week that we've really kind of had a break.
Yes.
So we got to kind of like dilly-dally and kind of relax. And it's been like a month of crazy nonsense.
It's been a summer of crazy nonsense.
And so my confession is that I've spent this time not doing anything productive. I haven't. Okay, so my clothes that I'm wearing are clean. But all of the clothes from the week are just in a pile. I think Katie's actually handling it. Thank you, Katie. I really appreciate you and doing all of the laundry. But my confession is that I've been super blasé. I spent time with my daughter, which was kind of the best. She had a fever. This is the thing. After the stuff, I'll tell you about it. I had a dad moment and I panicked and I literally was about to pass out on the kitchen floor. Oh my God. But yeah, so that's...
You made it.
I made it.
Okay. That's good.
I did. But yeah, that's pretty much my confession, is that all of the time I've had to kind of like recharge, I've been very terrible at like everything, getting anything done. So that's about it.
Mm. That is a confession.
Yeah, that's my confession.
I don't know. I guess.
School started.
Yeah, school started. My kid's not here. That's good, and kind of sad. I cried. That's a confession.
That's why he's not here right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I cried on the first day of school. So not only did I go drop my kid off, and it's like, oh, and he was doing really well, and he was really excited. I walk out, and the school normally plays like loud music out in the speakers, and they were playing Levels by Avicii, and cool. I just started bawling. I was like, oh God!
Why is your school all like in the like Dude, in the know?
Oh, the principal's so cool. She's awesome, and that's why we keep him at that school. But they were playing that song, and I had my shit together, and then all of a sudden I hear that song playing. And I'm just like, oh, my little man just having to work his way.
That's going to be me in like 5 years. Maybe less. I don't. When do they start school?
Sooner than that usually, dude.
They start in pre-K.
When's that?
You want to probably start like around like 3 years old. You want to start putting them in like school to start interacting with other kids. Okay. And
it's
then,
like part-time school though.
Yeah. It's like half days. It's only half days. Cool. Yeah.
I feel like she'd like that, maybe.
She'll like it more than you will.
Probably.
Zeke loved it more than... We dropped him off at things, and we'd be like, bye, and he's just like, peace out, runs off. We're like...
I took her with me to the tattoo party, and like she was having an okay.
Yeah, I was hoping there was going to be a tattoo in this confession. I'm a little disappointed.
No, because the thunderstorm.
I'm really disappointed.
We couldn't do tattoos while the power was flickering in and out.
Well, your aunties look like they did.
Yeah, they all got tattoos. We were already get tattoos.
Dude, don't make excuses, man. Don't talk about that. That's another part of my confession. The lights went out for like 30 minutes out in Browns Point where I live, and that was fucking terrifying.
Because I wasn't far away. Like, I could see the storm when it was hitting.
Yeah, that's why you hit me up.
Yeah, I was like, hey, is your power still on?
Yeah, no. Mikey hit me up all weird. I was like, damn, he knew. Yeah. And thankfully, I live right next door to a police officer, and I went and knocked on his door as, I guess, a really big confession that I'm not going to put out there to the public. I am deathly afraid of thunderstorms and lightning storms, and I will cry. I will literally break down in tears and start like hyperventilating and panicking. And so with all said, I put my big girl panties on because my kid was there, and I was like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna go next door. I'm gonna see if everything's okay with my neighbors. And I went out there and a little happened. I was like, oh God. My butt cheeks clenched a little, and I was like, oh.
She said a little poop came out.
No, none of that. Not that bad, Mikey.
What's that poop came out?
Look, I'm a girl. I don't poop, okay?
Just remember, the last time there was a thunderstorm in Washington, Mikey was outside with lightsabers spinning.
I literally was outside like, with lightsabers.
But
everyone's pause was like, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
That's a great idea.
But yeah, I went out and everything was fine, and I came back home and I had little candles. We took care of it, and then the lights went back on, and my kid went to bed, and we're good.
Rad.
Yeah. So confession, I'm really scared of thunder and lightning.
You need to get Tempest Cleric to overcome it.
So I don't play clerics, man. I don't do anything that has thunder in their magic spells.
No druids?
No druids either. I played a druid, and I think she doesn't do anything with thunder.
What's the spell? Call lightning?
I think thunderclap is like the only thing I've ever like thunderclap, right? I think that's what I've had.
You've used that.
But that makes me think of like a woman with my thighs, like thunderclap.
First comes the thunder, then comes the lightning. Or is it first comes the lightning, then there's the thunder?
It's lightning, then thunder.
I knew that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, lightning and the thunder.
Thunder. Anyways.
And what is your confession?
Oh, man. My confession is that I'm glad that August is over with. It was probably like one of the most busiest, stressful months of my life, you know, not only in my other job where we were trying to harvest, I don't know what it ends up being, like over a ton and a half of autoflowers at the same time, while coming back out here to do Ren Fair and Dragonflight. And like Dragonflight's probably like the single most tired I've ever been at a convention. Like I was near death at that place. Like I was hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
And I guess my confession,
Ben was the worst off of all of us. Let's be real.
I guess my confession would be that like I honestly wasn't like properly prepared for that. And I thought that everything was going to go, and everything, you know, I got to say, like, you guys did a really, really good job, and everything went remarkably smooth for how much stress and, like, sleep deprivation there was. But, you know, next year I really am looking forward to the summer of RPG 2020. 2019, one's closed now, but it's over with, thank God. It was rough towards the end. We had a lot of fun, sat like literally thousands of people to play D&D.
Yeah.
Like literally thousands over the summer of RPG. So I feel really happy with our contribution towards trying to create new players. And trying to create make our contribution to bringing in new players into the fold. And my other confession is that I'm really, really excited for OrcaCon next year. Like it was like a week, and I relaxed and I did some other stuff, and then I just started thinking about like all the other stuff, all the lessons that we learned this year. As far as like our first full year of organizing and how much better things got like as we went along in the year. So I'm really excited to like start fresh with you guys and be able to incorporate all the new cool stuff. And I'm excited on all the new shows and things like that you guys are talking about doing, and just look forward to seeing it. So that's my confession.
That's a good confession.
Yeah, look at Rogue Joe said you were bringing it tonight, dude.
And with that, I guess we'll say goodbye. Oh, wait. It is Subtember. Don't forget, this month is Subtember, where you can subscribe for half the cost here on Twitch,
or gift it,
or gifting it at half the cost.
Birthday presents,
if you
early
subscribe
Christmas,
and send a subscription gift to a friend of yours, we'll give you something.
What?
Yeah.
Hard Power, thank you for the follow.
Hard Power, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the team.
Thank you. Welcome to Cleric.
Don't forget it's Subtember.
Subtember.
Where-
$2.49.
Yes, for you, for a friend, for your grandma. My grandma
Yeah,
watches
I think
this
right now
sometimes.
is a good time. I think to get grandmas and grandpas in
I
on the
really-
Twitch game.
I really like that lady with the colored hair. She's real funny. That's what my grandma would say if she was watching right now.
I hope so,
Yes.
and I hope you record that so I can hear her say that.
I have a video I'll show you. It's
Okay.
the cutest thing ever. My grandma she needs to be on the show.
If my grandmother could speak English or understand it, I'm sure she would enjoy it too.
I feel like she can. She just does it out of spite.
You know what's funny is that a lot of us in the family really say that. We're like, dude, she totally understands what we're saying. Like, we'll have full conversations. She's just staring at
She
us.
wants to talk to me. She like must download English from like a external server.
She is. I don't know. I
We
think
had
she's,
good conversations. It's either that or she just is just really polite.
She plays it off like she doesn't understand, is what we all say.
Bro, she's
But
getting you guys. Behind the scenes, dude, she
Oh,
knows.
trust me.
then it's an excuse. All right, my grandmother won't watch. Thanks, guys.
Anyways, for those of you guys who followed and subscribed today, thank you guys so much. Please, you can, we'll have a recap on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube. Instagram. We have an Instagram account where we post stuff from on Instagram.
Twitter.
We
got the birds.
We have
got the
birds.
Twitter birds.
We Twitter important
We
stuff.
tweets.
We tweets important things.
And Facebook.
And Facebook. That's the other one.
Because Fire sent us Alfredo pictures.
Yeah. Send us your Alfredo.
Oh, yeah, send us your recipes.
Following that, if you want to contact us, get a hold of us in some way, you can always contact us at watch@clericgames.com. Send us an email. Send us a picture of your Alfredo. Things like that. Be well received.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks,
and
guys.
We appreciate you guys helping build this community.
And one more time, thank you everybody for the support on collateral damage.
Yes, thank you so much for that support.
Oh,
If
did
you're
we
here
didn't
and-
even mention that?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
We did. We
Oh.
mentioned it at the beginning.
I thought I
We got a
forgot.
clip of the
Oh, swag. Dude, we're taking it to Canada. We're taking it to Canada.
Are we?
Yeah.
All right.
We're taking it to Canada.
Talk about that next week.
We'll talk about that next week.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. I think we got 10 seconds of byes.
Bye.